Welcome part 2 on the update on Japanese maples in the autumn fall. It's 20th of September 2018. It's a little bit nicer morning than yesterday. It's very wet, we had a lot of rain yesterday, but I've managed to tidy that border up this morning. I'm going to start with this tree here, which is Asash Autumn Moon. Now this tree started to die off a couple of weeks ago. There's still a couple of leaves to the ends of the branches are very bright red. I don't think the camera's picking up just how dark it is, but also this year I've noticed the new stems are very bright red compared to the older darker purpley red stems. As you can see, there's quite a contrast. So I wasn't expecting that. I might repot this tree in a couple of weeks. Next we have Asa Phoenix. This tree's been in the ground about 3 years. It's very slow growing. It's probably only grown a couple of inches, if that. Maybe it doesn't like the clay soil here. It's still a mixture of pinky reds with a few tinges of green left. It's quite a pastel colour to the tree. It looks a little bit drab sometimes. But it is a nice mix of colour. Quite tightly bunched leaves, which grow in random directions. Reminds me of stars in the sky. It's a very pretty little Japanese maple. At the back here we have Asash Moonrise. Now this tree's been this sort of colour throughout the summer, a mixture of red and greens. So it took the light a lot better than Autumn Moon. It gets semi-shade from the fence there from direct sun in the afternoon, so it's not really getting direct sun throughout the day, but it gets a lot of light. Very striking leaf shape and colours there. Really has grown quite a bit this year since when we got it last summer. Really is a special little tree, this one. I think it's only been available in the UK for about 3 years. The tree is about 2.5 foot high now. Excuse the bricks, I have to hold the pots up from getting blown about by the wind. This next tree is Asa Seiyuu. And again, this was further down the right side of the garden there, which was getting a little bit more sun. And I moved it here this year to try and hold its green colour, which it has done. It's amazing just a little bit of light can make such a difference. The last couple of years the tree's been in the same position down about just 5 metres to the right here, and it'll be in bright red now in the past 2 years at this time of year. It's only just started to turn red the last couple of weeks. It was repotted last year, last spring I believe. We have a lot larger leaf shape this year. I'm quite happy it's held some of its green colours a lot more, so it should look very nice in the next couple of weeks. There's a few bits of dye back to the tree this year, which it doesn't normally have, but it's started to put leaf out on the bottom stems, because about 3 years ago I pruned the tree and took some of those lower leaves off. It didn't really do too well after that, so I've just left it to itself for the last couple of years, and it's filling out a bit. I think it would prefer to be in the ground, because it's quite slow in the pot. But it's doing okay. It'll look better once I trim those dead branches off. The tree's probably grown about 2 foot in about 4 years, I think. It could look better, but I think we need to give it time. Okay, moving on to the lower tree here, which is Acer Emerald Lace. This one's in the ground. And it holds its green colour because it has lots of overhead shade by very large silver birches in this corner here. The tips are just starting to go red. There's a stem that's failed there. I have to prune that off once the tree drops its leaves. This has been in the ground 3 years. It's about 2.5 foot wide by 2.5 foot deep, and about that high as well. It's a slow grower. Slowly puts an inch or two a year. There's not much on the back of the tree. Nice feathery leaves. It's very similar to Acer Seiyuu. Excuse the sun there. Except Inhabit Acer Emerald Lace weeps over with its branches, while Acer Seiyuu is an upright tree. There's a little coal tit there on the seeds. It's not very often I get this close to them. It's a beautiful coloured bird, this one, a coal tit. Black and white head, greenish wings and yellow breast. I love the birds. At the back here we have Acer Katsura. This tree's getting quite large. It's very bushy. It's a good 4.5 foot high, and the spread on this one's about 5 to 6 foot. This tree's been in the ground about 3 years. It was only about 2.5 foot high when we got it. About the same size as Acer Phoenix, they're a little bit smaller. And it really is a good grower, this tree. Quite fast and puts out a lot of dense branching. Like Acer Autumn Moon, The new stems are quite bright red. Still holding its dark green colour. There's a few leaves starting to show a little bit sign of reds coming through there. The first year this was planted, the tree went a rainbow of colours. The last couple of years it's been more of a goldy colour. So we'll see in the next few weeks how this tree does. And at the back we have Acer Shraswanum Aureum, the golden full moon Japanese maple. This has usually been on the patio for the last couple of years, but I put it at the bottom of the garden here in the semi-shade, and it seems to be a lot happier. It's holding its green colour much better than it was on the patio. It was semi-shade on the patio, but there's only a few leaves that are starting to edge red. So I'm a lot happier that the tree's in a better spot. If I come down to the front here, we have Acer Uenayama. Now this tree suffered from wind earlier in the year, and a lot of its leaves were all shriveled up, but it put out basically a new set of leaves. The whole tree was budding away there early summer. It's very slow growing. It's been in the ground about 3 years, same time as Emerald Lace there. Very, very slow, but for some reason this year it's put out a new shoot, which is about 18-inch growth. So it's been a good year for growth on some of the trees. This tree is normally mottled red at this time of year, but like Katsura, it's very dark green. A few edges of red there. So this is the first time this tree's held its dark green in the fall. And as we come to the side of Acer Katsura there, and I'll show you a little bit more of the Aureum at the back. That tree's potted, so it just stands on a paving stone at the back there. And here we have the rescued Acer Atriparium. It's about 9 foot tall, this one. Again damaged by the wind early in the summer. I've moved it from the patio down to the garden here. It's getting a little bit more wind protection. It seems to have held its leaves. Sometimes it drops them late summer because of the wind. In the bottom corner here we have our little potted Acer Orange Dream. Now again, this tree's about 3 to 4 year old. Sorry, we've had it 3 to 4 years. It's probably 3 to 4 year old when we bought it. So it's probably about 7 or 8 year old in total. But this one is very slow growing. I've moved this down to the bottom of the garden because it was beside Acer Suryu. It was getting more indirect sunlight during the day, and it was going bright red during the early summer. But it's held its greens a lot more into the summer months, and it's only recently turned red. There's still green on it, so this will turn a completely red and darker in the next month. So that's part 2 of the updates. So hopefully the weather will hold up tomorrow and I'll get the right hand side of the garden tidied up, and I'll show you the rest of the trees then. Okay, hope you enjoyed watching the video. If you're on Facebook, search Facebook groups for Acer Trees Japanese Maples, and you can find our dedicated group there who just talk about Japanese maples. We have a lovely group of people there. Anyway, look forward to seeing you in part 3.